Spent too much time in California. Now I got that Rona. Gotta be alone. Staring at my phone. Gotta be alone.
Gotta be alone.
All right. This is the thealoneaviruspodcast. I'm here with Andrew, my friend from LA, and boss. But guess what? I'm the boss of this conversation. So
yeah,
just so you know.
I won't give you any orders. Yeah.
I'll do the
like
order.
usual.
I know.
What a great employee.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you. You never get that from an employee, you know.
You are under, what do they call it? And this is an independent contracting sort of agreement we have, right?
Yeah.
So you're just working for the day.
Yeah, this isn't.
Taxes are on your own.
Yeah, and they were extended, so
good luck.
Yeah. And I'm getting and I think I'm getting another stimulus, right? I should be.
Yeah, if I allow it.
Yeah. The Jordan stimulus package.
You know what's funny? And this is we're on the record now.
Okay. We didn't talk before. I don't know what you're saying.
Yeah. So we work at the same place. We work at a coffee shop. I'll shout it out. Coffee for Sasquatch. If you're in Hollywood, go check it out. Actually, excellent coffee. And I'm not there, so you'll have an okay time. But so I work there, and you're the manager.
Correct.
And
I can verify that. Anyone needs to call me about that.
And I was working, and I remember like things were starting to get weird in my head. And I remember texting you like at the beginning of March. I think actually I want to say March 10th. I was like, hey, I might need to leave town.
Yeah.
Cause like, I think things are going to get real weird. And I was still the only person saying that at this time.
Yeah, you were. It's funny. Cause I was like in like a very small time period, things changed, but I feel like, yeah, you definitely were like the first to.
Yeah. And people were just kind of like, all right,
crazy.
Like, if you feel like you need to do that. And I was like, I think maybe this weekend I might like leave town. And then the next day I went to work and I was just like, I don't even think I ever mentioned this. I was like at work and I worked Wednesday afternoon and I usually had done like, what is it, scheduled to like 3:30 or something? I don't even remember anymore.
Yeah, the mid shift we call it in the biz.
Right.
So,
yeah. I think it was still 3:30, but I think at like 2:30, I just started to go into a panic and I just left and literally got in the car and drove to Pennsylvania.
And then you either text me or you left me a message saying like, hey, I left. And then the next day everyone was like, is Jordan gone? Did he leave? Did he just go? And I was like, yeah, I think he is. I think he's already there. By the time you realize that he's
3.5
on the
days.
East Coast.
Yeah. Was there any backlash to that? Am I fired?
No, cause I think if you're telling me, so the timeline was Wednesday and then you left essentially then, and then
I left on the 11th.
Cause we ended up, staying open until that's how quickly things changed. Cause it was like Jordan's insane on Tuesday. And then by the next Monday we closed the store or like that Monday was the last day we were open. And that was a short day. And then we ended up closing the store because it was like, you go from now everyone's on board with Jordan and like, the sales were like, up here and it was normal. And then it was like the next day, no one was coming in and we're like, well, maybe we should then, So yeah, it was definitely a day-to-day thing where it was like, I was telling people, oh yeah, we're going to stay open. Like, we should be okay. And then it was like, no, we're going to close, so.
Yeah, it was really weird. It was hard to be me for like 2 days because I was just like, I am bailing on all these commitments and I don't know if I am doing the right thing.
That's the cost of being a leader, I suppose. Yeah. An early adopter.
It's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
Yeah, a leader.
It was crazy because at first it was, and even now, like seeing, like, even now you can see things like effects of that, but like, just like how people like have like either continued to learn and be like, okay, this is more serious than I thought. And like, how do I take steps to do this? or just the same where it's like, you're insane for closing the shop and, blah, blah, blah. So it's like, either like there's like people that followed in your footsteps where it's like, okay, this is serious. Like, let's, kind of like take measures to do, what we need to do. Or it's just like my life as usual. And, everyone around me is insane. So yeah.
Well, it's weird because where I am around here, people still think you're crazy for like wearing a mask and stuff. Like it's,
yeah.
And then people that do wear masks, they put them around their neck so they can smoke cigarettes.
Well, me and my fiance, who's over there, she and I went and stayed. Like when we closed down the shop, we were like, well, we're in LA. This is like the worst place to be, when you like LA or New York, And so we ended up going to Washington State to quarantine with her parents for the month that we were closed. And when we came back, we stopped in Redding, California, which is kind of like not small, but like smaller place. And they like are another planet. Like they just had a rodeo the other day, apparently there. Like they've had like 3 cases this whole time or something. It's really small. I forget exactly. So they're just like not even, unfazed by it, but they're in the same state that I'm in. And it's like, a whole nother world here. So it's like where you just can go a couple hours in any direction and that's the same. People are either think you're insane or you'll think they're insane. So
California is a real weird state.
Yeah. Yeah. There's so much in California. It's kind of like Florida because that's where I'm from. And it's like South Florida, Middle Florida, North Florida are like 3 states in one there where it's like, yeah, it's all over.
Yeah. So, okay. So the coffee shop closed on that Monday. Where were you like mentally? Were you like, how did it hit you?
Yeah, it was quick. Cause like, I was like at first, cause I was saying, okay, obviously we're going to have to adapt how we do things, but I was prepared, up until like Sunday almost to keep the shop going. I was like, maybe we'll have to minimize hours. We'll start, maybe like with like gloves. At this point, I like masks weren't even a thing. I was like, I didn't even think about a mask, and I was like, maybe we'll start wearing gloves. Like maybe we'll have to change, how we do like the line. Cause we were doing, I think, to go only at that point. That was like, that happened already. So, and we were like lidding stuff ourselves and stuff, but everyone was still coming in the shop. And, I was like, yeah, like, we'll be here for the people, I'll take the hit and stay here. And that was what my thinking. And then I think Sunday, I want to say it was Sunday, I started hearing things about quarantine. This was no quarantine and everything. And I was, and actually I heard, the first thing I heard was like a mandatory like lock-in where it was like, you couldn't leave your house, like military fine, all that. And so I was like, wow, and then that was where every food, was bought up, every place you went to, like Trader Joe's, Gelson's, all that was gone. There was, the only meat was the steak for $40, at Gelson's. Like there was nothing, no pasta. That was like, and that was when it was hitting me where I was like, whoa, this is like serious. Like people are like storing up, like, I mean, that's when we kind of discussed going, or like, maybe we should like leave, maybe this is like really serious. So that hit me like out of nowhere kind of, because up until that point I was like, I wasn't trying to be like, oh, this is a joke, everyone's crazy. But I was also like, okay, I think we can weather this, just adapt to it, but then I was like, no, all out of nowhere was like, let's shut down the shop. Like that Monday was kind of like, let's just do it because of like how I thought it was going to play out, which it kind of did, not quite as serious, I guess. But then we had, all of this, the same stay at home as San Francisco started like affecting everyone else. And then we were glad we ended up going to Washington because it was like, now we're not in the kind of epicenter of California where it happened. So, or where, the worst cases would be. So.
Did you fly up there or did you drive?
No, we drove,
Okay.
That was
because you stopped on the way back, right?
Yeah, that was an issue too, because I don't know if everyone decided to do the same thing or not, but we made it like an hour and then they forced us off the highway at like the Grapevine, or before the Grapevine Pass, which I didn't even know was a thing, but now I'm like, okay, yeah, I am a Californian. And so they forced us off the highway, and then we tried to get back on, and we started going, and we're like, wow, we found this like secret, bypass that no one else knows about. And then we just hit a ton of cars and are dead stop for like 45 minutes. And I had no idea why. We couldn't, like, we looked it up online and all, and I got out of my car in the rain and like ran down because we were like uphill. So I was like running downhill, like, what happened? There's a cop just like in the on-ramp, like just parked. And I was like, oh, so it's just like, no, and finally, like, I sit there for a second, like thinking I don't know what we're going to do. Cause we're like committed now to driving to Washington, and we haven't even made it 2 hours and we're getting crazy resistance. So like, should we turn around, blah, blah, blah. And then he ends up moving as like I'm there, existential moment. And for like a minute, and then he ends up opening it and cars start going. And I was like, whoa, like, okay, maybe we can do this. And so I start running back to the car, and it's the closest I've ever been to being in the Olympics, because as I'm running, people are rolling down their windows going, is it open? And I'm like, it's open. And I'm like, I'm giving people like these, like this, like I have the lamp, or the fire, the torch. Yeah. I'm like giving people like thumbs up, and they're like, is it open? I'm like, it's open, it's open. And then like the next person will roll down and like, is it open? And like, no one could ever, from my response to the person before them, could ever read that it was a good thing. So I just kept being like, it's open, it's open. And I was like going around town telling like great news.
What distance are we talking about?
Oh, I mean, maybe a football field of me running, but it was uphill. So, I mean, I looked great afterwards. Let me tell you that. So
right.
Great, hams and quads. But so then once you made it through there, it was like pretty smooth sailing. I mean, it was snowing, which was crazy all of a sudden. But yeah, and then we ended up making it all the way. So, but yeah, for a minute there, it was like we shut down the shop. We were leaving that night, and then we were like, maybe I did this too quick and I didn't know we were gonna, hit resistance, and then we ended up just pushing through. So, but,
a little resistance training.
Yeah. Resistance bands are sold out everywhere, so you gotta do it with a car.
Yeah. So things in Washington were more chill, and you guys were able to like not be part of the panic.
Yeah, that worked out really well because it was like, so me and my fiance, Kaylee, and then we had her parents, and then they have someone living with them already. So it was like a packed house, kind of, not packed. It was I think it was 5 or 6 of us that were quarantining together. Like, I mean, we weren't working, and then her parents were working from home, and same with the person living with them. So it was all kind of staying in that one place. But they have a much bigger house than I have here in my 2-bedroom apartment. So that was nice, and it didn't feel cluttered or anything. And we ended up, her dad bought a crossbow, so we had that to shoot and get out our frustration. And obviously, nice. In case of, the supermarket shutting down, it's good to have a crossbow.
Of course. I feel like that would be a name of a supermarket somewhere.
Crossbow markets? Yeah. And nothing is packaged. It's just things still with a bolt in them.
The arrow's right in it, yeah.
Yeah. And you have to buy it same day or else it's not good.
That's pretty good.
Huge markups. But yeah, it was, it actually didn't really feel like quarantine. Like really until I got back to LA, I didn't really hit me as much, because there I was like, oh, this is like a mini adjusted vacation, because we weren't obviously doing things we normally do, but we could take walks, we could have interaction, we could play board games and watch TV and, do stuff together. So it didn't, it's like, anyone with a big family right now is like probably, doing all right, because they cannot go insane. They're not dealing with the thealoneavirus, but that's the name of the podcast. For anyone. But
for anyone who's not listening.
Yeah, that's how anyone who's like tuned out, they're like, wait a second, that's the name of the podcast. So it didn't really feel like that until I got back, where it was like, oh, this is like quarantine, so.
Yeah, I'm having kind of the same experience out here in Pennsylvania. There's a ton of space, and like I went, I think 7 weeks without leaving the house or like the area around the house. And I was
Yeah.
able to like, I was still going out running and like
Right.
exercise and be outside, and not see any people.
Well, you can see, I mean, were
You
you running
can.
eyes closed?
Oh yeah. Always.
Okay. Yeah. A lot of injuries there. I've done that.
Yeah. Well, but yeah, I can't imagine what it would be like in LA. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm sure you could tell me, but it's just like I rented a room in an apartment, and it's like that's not where I want to spend all of my time. That sounds
Yeah.
terrible.
That would have been worse. I mean, at least I have half of a full apartment to myself, 1 bedroom, 1 bath or whatever. But yeah, I mean, this is definitely a big downgrade in terms of space. But I will say this, because, I'm still working obviously at Sasquatch now because we reopened. That's the only reason I came back to LA, was because we reopened. So otherwise I was happy in Washington to just stay there. But initially I was like, I'm not working, 7 days. There's no reason that I need to like kill myself on, work when I come back. But the first week I worked 5 days and I had 2 days off, and I was like, I'm going to go insane. Like, I can't do even 2 days in here like this, because it's just, there's nothing to do. And I'm like, I'm already, when you're off work, you're already not really doing anything. So then to have a whole day of like, well,
Plus you're so caffeinated.
Exactly. I'm amped. I'm jacked. Like, where can I find the next cold brew?
Right. So what is it like there now?
Well, right now, it's actually picked up a lot. Okay. So we did, for reference of like sales, for like the millions of numbers people out there, billions even, for the first week of sales, or excuse me, the first month, because we reopened April 15th. And so for all of April, the sales were less than they were last week. So in 1 week, I did the same amount of sales as like 2 weeks and a little bit more. Uh-huh. So it's got a lot busier, for sure. Because when we first, and also I can see it on the roads, when I first came back, like you could get anywhere you wanted in 2 minutes, basically it's like, that's the only good thing about being out, is like driving, because it's easy. But now I can see there's traffic at points, which is, disturbing, where I actually have to, I've had to stop at stoplights now a couple times. So, yeah, it's getting bad, but it's picked up. Yeah, we have right now, to update you on the store.
Yeah.
That I know you're missing. Yeah, we have a setup in the back of the store, to where the back entrance is now just kind of, you walk up, we have plexiglass set up, and we've raised the plexiglass so there's an area to bring drinks underneath, kind of like at a bank. So except, yeah, a little bit bigger. We spill a lot of drinks. We try to go through that one, but a
lot of withdrawals.
Yeah. Zing.
I'm going through some caffeine withdrawal myself.
Yeah.
Go on. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So that is worked out really well for us, as far as safety, for sure. It's like, even if, because, obviously you're going to have people that are not wearing a mask, even though in LA it's required. We have people walk up without masks, but we're wearing masks. We have gloves. We have the plexiglass. So I'm like, I don't really feel in danger. Even though I'm working, it's like kind of the safest. I mean, it's in my opinion, safer than going to the grocery store. No real chance of running into anyone. Because
you're not really like taking anything from them, right?
Yeah, I never have to take. What I have is, we use Square. So, obviously, and we have the iPad inside the store, but the payment system is outside. So people just insert their cards, and assuming they have a chip, otherwise they can just tap it. We have Apple Pay. And then every once in a while, if you don't have a chip, because I think now the unemployment cards, they don't come with a chip. Mm-hmm. So I've had a couple people, they're like, hey, I'm getting unemployment. I don't have a job. I have a lot of money now. Why don't I spend money on a latte? So that's what a lot of people are doing, and makes sense. So they give me their card, and I'll just ask them to set it down, and I'll just type it in. So I never have to touch anything, to answer your question in a really long way. Yes, I don't ever take anything from anyone. If they, say, oh, I wanted more creamer, I'll just give them a little cup with creamer. I won't, nothing. We don't take cups. Yeah.
Rather waste the cup than.
Yeah, exactly. At this point, plastic is going out the door.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is one thing. We are using a lot of materials that we normally wouldn't, but that's just the way it is at the moment. But
compromise, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of gloves. Go through a lot of gloves a day. But you were trying not to take cash. Obviously, if it's like your only thing that you have on you, I take it and then I just take off the gloves before I do anything else. So stuff like that, so it can be annoying and take a while, but I think overall it's like pretty safe. But the big news is that, yes, we are reopening the shop in some capacity. I know why a lot of people tune in. Wait, are they reopening the shop?
Are you dropping this here?
This is the first place.
No one knows. Okay.
The shop doesn't even know.
Okay.
I didn't even know this until I dropped it.
Until you're about to say it.
I'm learning through myself. It's, so we're going to do now kind of like what I, originally thought of, but now we've got plexiglass set up where the register will be. We've got it set up at the bar. So there's already glass where the machine is. So basically all along where the work employees, myself and anyone else working would be, there's like a wall of plexiglass essentially. So you're allowed in the shop. We've set up 10 people max in the store. We've set up 6 spaces spaced out, obviously by at least 6 feet each, with numbers. And then we have the space, the space where the Sasquatch is, the plant wall. That is the space where like Postmates and people will go to pick up. So they don't have to fight through the line of people to say, hey, this is my number. Because a lot of times, it's not every Postmates or DoorDash person, but a lot of them don't see lines. What they see is people that are in their way. So they to even avoid that, I'm trying to make it so they have a place to go where they can pick up without having to, be in contact with anyone. And then enter through the front, exit out the back. Mm-hmm. So that's in my mind the way to kind of make it work. Because really the only issue with the setup now is when it gets busy, because on the weekends it's actually very busy, considering there's only 2 of us working at a time. The problem is if I have to give the drinks and take orders through the same window. So a lot of times if you call out an order and then someone's trying to order, they'll be, walking right up and say, oh, thanks, but you're now 2 feet away from the guy taking the order. So the idea of it was good, but unless people are kind of like respecting space more, it sometimes can turn out bad. So I think this will make it so that there's no way you have a chance to run into anyone because you're forced to go one way only. So
yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. And it obviously still, I've even talked to the health inspector about it all to make sure, we're up to code about it, but obviously everyone's going to be wearing a mask, employees and customers. We got hand sanitizer, 3 bottles throughout the shop on your path. So if you miss one, don't worry, just keep going. You'll get sanitized. And
just
then
a car wash.
Yeah, exactly. And then, we just kind of dry you as you go through the fly door at the end. And then we have got 2 bathrooms. One is the employee bathroom and the other will be for customers. So if for any reason, because that is required by the health department that at least one bathroom be open to customers. So, and then that'll be disinfected, obviously multiple times a day. So we're trying to still, I don't want to sacrifice safety, to reopen, but I also think there are ways to do it that can be even more safe than how it is if possible. So,
I think ultimately that should have been the goal of quarantine is like, all right, let's pause and see like how we can do things
right.
safely. And I think people took it as like, okay, this in itself is the only measure that we have. And for a minute there it was, but I think the real work that could have been done, and I think some people did and some people, like a lot of the government, did not do, was like use the time wisely to say like, okay, how can we build infrastructure to make things safer so that we can open more quickly and safely? Like, you know, if testing and all that kind of stuff was set up everywhere, you know, we could feel a lot more comfortable getting back out there and feeling like, you know, we're taken care of, which
because
like you're doing.
Once again, I am leading the forefront.
Right.
Kind of stuff. They call me the Jordan of this month. Because, that around town, that's what I'm known as. Because I'm just now, actually, we were just talking that they're doing, you just drive up, someone hands you the kit, you swab your mouth, hand it to another person, and you know in like 2 days, if you've had it or if you have it currently, which ideally should have been, you know, weeks ago, months ago, whatever. But at least now we have something so it can kind of feel safer and know. Unfortunately, like there's no way for us to really measure people's fevers or anything before walking in the shop or anything. But obviously we're still not doing sit down. So, but at least those stuff is starting to turn a corner. So it's like you can kind of know, at least for yourself, you know, and be responsible in that sense. You know,
sure, and you can always stay home if you want.
Yeah, 100%. And people have really adapted well to like, you know, having delivery available and like new ways to kind of make things available to people that they never had before. So, I mean, you're not like going to die or anything. Like the food, there's no shortage of food or water that I know of.
In Los Angeles, of all places, you're still able to survive.
Yes. Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, a lot of people said, no way. And I was like, you wait.
So do you feel like there was a period of panic and then it kind of like waned and now people are like, what is it now? Like relief or just like?
Well, look, don't make me bring up the stock market. It's too late. So yes, I dabble. And I think you can, you know, it kind of the stock market sometimes is a good barometer of like how people are feeling in general, because like yeah, exactly. You know, like, you know, in theory, it should kind of be a gauge of like America, you know, so I've seen, you know, from my own, like, you know, portfolio going up and down, how like, I think there's been a moment, you know, in the beginning, obviously it's like, you know, like everything's the worst. And then it was like, you know what, there's the stimulus package, maybe things aren't so bad. And the stock market came back up. And then it was like, well, that wasn't enough to really sustain us. And then now I'm seeing it, you know, kind of go back up a little. I think with the fact that you're seeing, like, for instance, you know, like I keep tabs on airlines kind of, and there's been a lot more people buying airline tickets for July. So like they're seeing sales increase. And I think just that alone is like showing, maybe not specifically LA, but just America in general, is like people are starting to like come out and, you know, and I think there's also, especially I think with coffee, because it's like one of those things that you don't necessarily need to come get, you know, there's a difference between getting your dinner that you maybe didn't have food and getting your like morning cold brew, you know, which who needs a cold brew right now? I don't know, but it's a lot of people, because there's been a lot of that. And I don't know why. I'm like, why do you need to be that caffeinated? But that's another podcast. Get Caffeinated with Jordan.
I would like to do that podcast.
Yeah, well, let's set it up right after this. We'll just put on hats, you know.
Well, yeah, I think that's a good point though, because like coffee is one of those. It's not essential, but it's like one of the first things that people go to after essentials.
Yeah,
I think
it is like a good barometer of like, I'm like, this is me like adjusting back to normal. It's like I feel like coffee is my thing that I go to, you know. And I've had so many people that it's like I've been in my house this whole time, but I needed to get out, and this is what they come to get coffee, you know. Right. Like that's their first thing. So it is an interesting you know, dynamic to have that, where and every day people that order online, very consistent, like I'm having, if they don't want to come out, at least like they're super consistent about ordering the same thing as if you were coming in every day, so, but yeah, there's definitely an increase though. I think people are getting sick of staying inside. I think at least that's what it seems like. But like you said before, I mean, I think it's kind of just adjusting to being able to go outside. It's like, okay, no one's saying you can't go outside at all. It's just when you're doing it, do it in a safe way. Do it. If you're going to come get coffee, like there's no reason, you don't need to meet up with 10 people. You can be safe about it. Use the hand sanitizer, like, don't pay with cash if you can help it and things like that. And yeah, so I think it's okay. People, there's a middle ground of like, being extreme about it, not to say that that's not wrong. It's just, I don't think that has to happen. I think that's safer probably, but it doesn't have to happen. And then there's these people that are not wearing masks and acting like nothing's happening, which might be wrong, but we won't say for sure. And then I think you have the middle ground, which is like, let's do the thing we used to do, but in a way that is as safe as possible. So, and I think that's what I would hope that people are doing. And that's what I'm seeing, a lot of adjustment. I'm seeing, I would say 75% of people, or that I see come in, are taking it serious and doing things in a different way, which is cool to see, and how you can still kind of have that normal, feeling of like coming into the coffee shop every day, but then in this new way, rather than, sitting down and having a meeting and writing your script. Maybe you have to do that at home on Zoom or something, but you can at least get your coffee on the way. So, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, as much as I love that people are, for the most part, staying home and staying safe, like, I think there is definitely something to be said about like feeling normal in your life and like your mental health and like being able to go out and do the things you're used to. I think as long as people are being safe, I think that's probably the right direction to head.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you're leading the charge and you're out there.
Jordan 2.0. Dun, dun,
Right.
dun, dun. Yeah,
Right.
because you'll probably appreciate this conversation that I'm steering, because someone brought this up to me the other day, which I didn't. Not the other day. This is probably 2 weeks ago now, but whatever. You would have believed me if I said the other day. I'm not going to backtrack that.
Nobody's done anything in months, so yeah.
Yeah. The other day, I don't believe that. Yeah, so someone was saying that in a way, being locked up inside and not having the sun, not getting exercise is almost going to be worse for you in the long run, because when you do eventually try to like readjust, you're now more susceptible to things because your body is like, I mean, even just the emotional aspect of being alone, will probably affect your immune system. But I think too, like, yeah, no vitamin D, no dopamine or, from endorphins or whatever from working out and all these things. So I think there are things you kind of need to do for your health in a way that require you to be outside or some, maybe not outside if you have a big enough space inside, I guess. But I mean, maybe you porch at least. But yeah, I thought that was really interesting when they said that, because I was like, yeah, you know what? Like there are merits to being able to like go on a walk even just for your own health, not just I'm going to go insane and I'm bored and so screw it. It's like, well, no, you need that, just do it in a safe way,
Of course. Yeah. 100%. And I think everybody out there, I'm going to say this now, supplement your vitamin D. A lot of evidence coming out specifically about coronavirus. It might be helpful. So most Americans are deficient.
I was really prepared for you to bring out something like this was going to,
I have some over there.
Yeah. If we could break for commercial, I would love to see it. And then we'll just say, oh yeah, sponsored by
in post.
Yeah.
Vitamin D. Sunlight in a bottle.
Coronavirus is sponsored by.
Yes. Well, okay. So this is a great time to get into the questions.
Okay.
And as we're like as time is progressing, I feel like these questions are becoming slightly less relevant. So you can answer them however you want to.
Yeah. I might just say this is not relevant, if that's cool.
That's great. Makes for great radio.
No, this is not relevant.
You can answer however you want or not. It's totally fine.
Okay.
Just what I do. I have to do it. I'm under contract to do it. So
From the vitamin D guys. Yeah. No, I get it. I'm making you.
Okay. So if you were not in quarantine, what would you be doing right now?
That's a good question, because I've thought about this and I'm like, in my normal life, after work, coming home is like refreshing, because you're like, you know what, maybe all I want to do right now is play video games and watch TV. So like, in a way, in my normal life, that is what I would be doing. But now, because it's the only thing to do, it doesn't feel the same. So that is relevant, and so I will answer it. Yeah, I don't know. I guess I don't know is the answer, because the things that I normally enjoyed, like, you know, the occasional, like go out to see a movie. I will say that that's something that I really miss, because there's so many things that like just aren't the same on the TV. You know, like, yes, I've got 55 inches in my bedroom. Okay, whatever. I don't know. I mean, sponsored by Sony, but it's just not the same. You know, like you could watch an epic action movie and like, yeah, that was a great movie, but you know, it's missing something from my usual IMAX experience.
Sure.
As I do. So that's one thing maybe. I have had the chance to go on like a hike, you know, and do like kind of outdoorsy. Oh, basketball.
Okay.
Good. There we go. I was trying to think, because yeah, I haven't played basketball.
What is it? It's Wednesday.
Yeah, my usual basketball day.
Is it?
No.
I don't know. How do I know?
It could be.
Could be.
Okay.
It is from now on.
It is Wednesday though. Oh yeah, now new tradition.
Yeah. Okay. Check. Usually I write these down. Now I'm having to pull them from memory.
Do you want me to keep going so that you can think of
it? No.
Okay.
I got it. Out of this
Can I pull out is it cool if I pull out my drink?
Oh yeah, let's go to the drink.
So this is, I don't want to say I've created it, but I've definitely perfected it. It's like a magic bullet, you know, like casing that I have. And instead of making smoothies like most people, no, I put Gatorade and ice, and then I just mix it. So it's like a really cold Gatorade.
So it's cold Gatorade. I thought you were going to say you use the magic bullet as just a cup. You're like,
so what I've done is I've merged Gatorade and ice. No one's ever done this before.
I believe that's actually a flavor of Gatorade. They're way ahead.
That is true, isn't it? That's probably all they do is let this melt, and then it's just watered down Gatorade. Yeah.
Question number 2. Yes, I know it. And you will know it.
Okay, I will. I can't wait.
Out of this whole situation, what good do you think is going to come out of it? Or do you hope?
For me personally, or just in general?
Whatever
I'll answer both.
Whatever you want.
Okay. For me personally, I'll start with me and then I'll build. So I'm getting a dog. Oh. That is something that, and I think that is true actually of a lot of people, that they are getting a dog. Okay. So I'd like to think that's a good thing. Now, the only downside would be if people get a dog now because they're lonely and then end up giving the dog up because they think once things kind of resume back to normal, they can't take care of it. I hope that doesn't happen. Won't for me, because I was already kind of planning on getting a dog. We were talking about that. So I'm getting a dog. That's a positive, I think.
Sure.
What will be positive for everyone else? I think, well, so here's my thing. I think the 1950s, I want to say, was like the last big pandemic that affected the United States. Like,
well, the one everyone talks about is the 1918 Spanish flu. I don't know. Maybe there's something in the 50s.
I should have researched this before, because I always want to say I know the name of it, and I'm like, okay, that's probably not it. Let's see. I'm going to do 1950 pandemic.
There was a big, there was a flu in the late 60s as well. There were many flu epidemics and stuff.
Well, let's just say there wasn't one. So 1918 then. Sure. Let's go back that one. My thing is, is this going to last? You know what I mean? Because I'd like to think that the good that's coming out of this is like, we'll kind of like people that never wash their hands after the bathroom will at least start washing their hands. Like let's say that is at least going to happen. And like, maybe, I don't know, maybe different people that are in jobs that maybe were looked down upon are maybe kind of more respected now. You know, maybe those things will happen. Maybe you'll kind of take your time more. You won't take for granted all the freedoms you have, you know, just in general. Maybe you'll appreciate your family and the time you have now together. Maybe you'll appreciate your job more, Jordan, and appreciate your boss more.
Yeah, unlikely,
maybe.
but yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, I think those maybe will change a little bit. Was it what good, or was it what will change?
The question was what good, but
what good?
Doesn't matter.
Yeah. I think my stock portfolio. I'm back to me again.
Great.
My stock portfolio, and maybe a lot of stock portfolios are going to go up.
Great. That's fine.
Yeah, I mean, I think, and then I mean, just in general, I guess too, specifically for the viruses, I think then now I would think we would have, you know, a vaccine in place, and maybe a better prepared for something like this in the future. So not only are we going to come out of this combating what we're fighting, but then, you know, looking forward, you know, 5 years or 10 years or whatever it is to the next virus that inevitably hits us, we're better prepared to deal with it. So we don't have to take such extreme measures. We're already kind of doing some of this stuff. So maybe that will be a good thing coming out of it. Yeah.
Yeah. Hope so. Great. Okay. And then kind of the opposite question. What do you fear? Like what might we get wrong in this whole thing?
My fear, I don't know if it'll happen for sure. I hope we don't overreact long term, I guess, you know, because like we were saying earlier, how you can do the same thing safely. And I've even seen, I've seen in China, some pictures of like restaurants reopening where they've got like the same table. There's two people at the same table, but there's like a cubicle of like plexiglass surrounding them, if that makes sense. And I'm like, that's like such an efficient use of space, but also like I would feel like so safe if I have my own like little thing there, you know what I mean? So I'm like, and I'm not saying that's what we have to do or like that's the perfect thing, but like that kind of like thinking, I like that you're trying to be like, how can I still have, you know, instead of this, like, because like right now in my mind, if restaurants reopen, the way we're talking, it's kind of like you got to check people before they come in. We might have like half the capacity as normal, and like that's, you know, like one, restaurants would have to charge so much money to like now be able to do that, because like, you know, half capacity, how could you make any money? And then two, the atmosphere is not there. You know, like normally, I mean, let's take Olive Garden, for example. Please. That place, when you're there, you're family, right? And right. I wouldn't feel family if we're also sponsored by Olive Garden.
A bottle of Olive Garden.
It's also like a lotion. Olive Garden. Squirt. So like stuff like that, where it's like, you know, the whole like camaraderie and like this huge parties and all that kind of that is like all of a sudden taken away. And so I'm like, I'm not saying maybe it should be, I don't know, like maybe safety trumps my memories, I don't know, but maybe there's a way to do like stuff like that safe again, that we don't have to like, you know, sacrifice specifically that kind of stuff. Or like the movie theater, you know, I love, you know, like I said, I like going to the movies, and I used to love when it's like you go to like the opening night of a movie or something, or like, you know, really early on, and it's like a packed theater and like everyone's dead quiet, and then they're like reacting, and that like is really cool. And if all of a sudden now it's like half capacity, it's like nowhere near the same kind of feel or experience.
Yeah, the energy is gone. Yeah.
And then there's not a line to get your soda, and it's like, am I even at the movie? So free butter, and am
I at my own refrigerator? What is going on?
Yeah, employees are actually asking me to step up to the line. So stuff. Yeah. I mean, that's my fear of like the bad stuff that might happen and not just, I mean, those are examples that I can think of off the top of my head, but I think in general, like a lot of things where it's like, can we, instead of like, like saying, oh, I don't know if this might be bad, so I'm going to like, throw out the good with the bad kind of, I think that's like, well, let's maybe figure out a way where we can like do this safely, because we can never really eliminate all chance of getting anything, but like you can do it, I mean, just like the flu, like any flu, like people get it still. It's like, but we can be smart about it, so so I think like that's something that maybe I hope we don't lose, and that I hope doesn't come out of this, negatively affected. Yeah. And cool. I don't care about losing concerts. I was never really a concert guy. So
what about comedy shows?
Yeah. You know what? And that's true, because you can't really do comedy online. I mean, you can a little bit, but there's not, you like for sure stand up. It's not the same.
No.
Although, have you seen Middleditch and Schwartz?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have.
Yeah, that was really good. That was.
I've been doing a lot of virtual improv classes this whole time. You've
been teaching them or doing them?
No, I am at Second City, so I've been progressing. Them. Yeah, like I continued from the in-person classes. They moved online.
Oh wow, I didn't even know that.
Yeah,
it's true what they say.
Computers.
Oh, you want me to say? I don't know it. I just knew it was
must
true.
Be true. Yeah.
Yeah. But,
yeah, it's not the same, but it's okay.
Right. Yeah, because I was gonna say, you don't see. I mean, I've never seen anyway like a filmed improv set really. So now seeing like Middleditch and Schwartz on like I enjoyed that on Netflix, and I'm like, maybe that will be something that kind of adapts, is like you'll see more improv type stuff or comedy come to TV. I mean, obviously stand up on TV, but then are they now going to do stand up shows in front of no one, or
they still need the crowd. I mean, any comedian will say that they have to film it in front of a live audience.
Because how would you know? I mean, you could be bombing like not even know it really, right?
Yeah,
that's me every time. So like even with the crowd. Am I bombing?
This is going well. No, we're bombing.
This is a perfect example. I need feedback.
Just take a sip of your drink.
It relaxes me.
Yeah. Okay, last question. And then I think I do have an actual question for you, but this is a podcast question.
Wait, the other ones were
No, these are standardized.
Was that improv?
Uh-huh.
Those were improv questions. Okay. Nice.
The last question, and I feel like it's becoming less and less relevant, but how long do you think like you are ready to like stick this quarantine out? Like, could you go forever? Could you cruise? Are you thriving? Or
Yeah, not even close to relevant. So right now because like I said, I'm kind of bored. So I'm working 6 days a week, which I don't have to necessarily do that. Like I am kind of doing that myself. Like no one's like, hey, Andrew, you have to work. I don't know if I would want to do that forever, but I think to some degree I'm thriving, where I feel like, I am getting a dog, and so things are looking up for me.
Do you have a name?
Jane.
Okay. What kind of dog do you know?
English cream golden retriever.
I'm thrown by the word cream.
Okay. What if I said creme?
Sure.
Okay.
Sounds beautiful.
It's just basically a whiter toned golden retriever. So like just the lighter skin. I mean, they're basically, we just wanted a golden. Right. And so we were like, we like the lighter skin. If we can get one, we'll do that. If not, no big deal. But we found a place in Utah, as it were. Yeah. So that worked out for us. Yeah. So I think that is going well. So I think with the dog, with working 6 days a week, I definitely feel like for now I can keep going. Like the dog, I was like, maybe I can't. And then the dog hit. And I am getting married. So that's keeping me going. I'm getting married in October.
Congratulations.
Hopefully.
I'll say it publicly.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was going to say, if he doesn't say congratulations, I'm hanging up. so that, I've got something to go on for. So, I know it sounds morbid, but I'm trying to answer it in the question.
We can be done. We can be done with that question because I feel like I don't even feel great about asking it anymore because it's like it doesn't work as well anymore.
Yeah. I mean, I
At
guess
the beginning.
because my experience, like I haven't been helped, like since that first month, I
Yeah.
haven't been holed up, in a, like that. Because if I had to do that for this whole time, maybe that question would hit me and I'd be like, yeah, I'm going insane, But I think because I'm out and I actually get the opportunity to talk to people in person, even though it's through mask and plexiglass, I have that like day to day, hey, how are you doing? Even if it's just like your generic small talk, it's actually is like kind of good to have that. So
yeah, maybe I'll strike that question from now on, or I'll think of something else. But
yeah, let it be known that I am the one who killed the question.
Killed the question.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have a question that I think it's relevant to the podcast, so I'll ask it on the podcast. Have people had much success, do you know, with unemployment in California, as far as like other people?
Well, so because I am the manager, as they say, top dog, big goose, there's a lot of other names. I get a lot of paperwork. And so I think I will say yes, because, or at least our employees for the most part, because I have to fill out a lot of that stuff, I guess, to verify, because I think a lot of them, like, I don't know, some people get it like right away. Maybe they're able to verify easier. I don't work for unemployment, so I don't know everything, but sometimes it seems like there's a couple different paperwork things I have to fill out before people will get receive their funds. Like one of them, it's like, the standard, what's this person's name? When did they start working there? When was their last date of work? And kind of just like the basics. And then others are like, what is the last paycheck they had and when did they receive it? And, give me exact numbers. So there's levels of verification that not every person have I had to fill out both for. And some people I haven't had to fill out any.
Have you had to fill out any for me?
I actually just, wow, what timing. I just received one yesterday.
No way. Okay.
For you. And
things are happening.
What's funny too is they give you like a time frame to fill it out, and they're like, you have 4 days to. That's literally what it says. It says you have 4 days, and I'm like, first of all, where did you come up with that timeline, right? Like, what is 4 days? Like,
wait, so how are you filling? Is it online?
No, I like a peasant have to write it.
Wow.
Out with my hand. Yeah, I'm getting carpal tunnel.
And mail it?
That's not true. I'm young, but I'm filling them out and then I have to mail it. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So, so I'm like, how am I going to meet this time frame? Because I don't know when the 4 days starts. First of all, there's no 4 days from this. It just says you have 4 days. So
like the Ring.
Sure. So
I just watched The Ring where you get the phone call, 7 days.
the unemployment department. Yeah. So I don't know if I'm within the time frame for any of these, because I'm like, as soon as I get it, I fill it out and send it, but I don't know when it will get to you. I don't know when you sent it. Well, I do know.
Well, I had to apply twice.
Really?
So that's probably why you're just getting it now. Because the first time I had trouble because I have worked in 2 states in the last 18 months, and I technically, my residence is still Pennsylvania. I don't have a California driver's license.
And this did say Scranton on it. Can I say that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, that's
sorry. I didn't want people to like.
Oh no.
Charge the house and say.
Oh, I'm not actually in Scranton, to be honest.
Wow. Okay.
But I am close to it.
Okay. That's good enough. They won't find you.
Yeah. So I've had to I had part of the application at first was like, send us a copy of your California driver's license. I was like, that doesn't exist.
Already.
So I had to like fax something in, and then they changed it so that, because they made it more accessible to like gig workers and actors and stuff.
Right.
And so then I applied again, because thinking like, at first I was like, okay, I'll get it through the coffee shop. And then it didn't seem like that was going to work. And I was like, okay, maybe I can get it as an actor. But then I fill out the same employment history. So I don't know who they're going to go to. So, but I was able to complete it online this time and actually have an account set up. So it seems like it may have worked, which is nice.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm getting paperwork, you at least did something right.
Yeah, that's good
For
to
once,
know.
and you're not. I'm just kidding.
Yes.
Oh man, I'm not going to be a great dad. Maybe.
You've been a great one for me. So
thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, hopefully my words on the form worked out for you.
I appreciate it. Thank you for doing your job.
Yeah, literally anytime.
I mean, so I'm through with questions. Is there anything else you want to talk about? Did we miss anything? Anything you need to get out there?
Let's see. What am I working on right now that I should plug?
You can plug stuff. Whatever. This is your time.
I don't really have anything. I just said that. I've just been working.
Yeah. So
you
should go visit. I mean, not visit you, but go.
Yeah, come visit me at Coffee for Sasquatch. Yeah, we have an online store now. A lot of people. Oh, we were just on. So I don't know if you were there. They filmed. Real
I saw this on
Housewives.
Instagram. Yeah.
Yeah. So now I'm getting a lot of people ordering stuff based. They call and they're like, "I saw you guys on Real Housewives. Do you have a online store?" So I already had set one up for when we were closed.
And this is merch, or this is like
it's mostly. I do have a couple coffee items on there just so you can kind of get a feel for our menu, but it's meant for merch. It's meant to like ship stuff. So.
And were you there when they filmed?
Yeah, I'm actually on the episode.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and look, am I an actor?
Now you are.
Who knows? But yeah, a lot of people said I guess the way they described it was transcendent, was my performance. They're like, whoa, I didn't even know you could deliver waters to someone at a coffee shop, but I did.
Did you make a coffee for Denise Richards? And if so, what was it?
I think I didn't watch the episode because I was in it, and that's so tacky. So I don't remember, but I'm pretty sure that in like the clip that I saw that we posted, I brought them out waters, which is not a thing, that never happens, but I did like a waiter for the show. But I don't remember. They did order. I do remember them ordering something at the time. And I pride myself on always doing latte art, whether it's to go or for here. So I'm sure if they ordered something, there was beautiful art on it. But I can't say what it was, what they would drink. But I know they're water drinkers.
Because you had to sign an NDA. You can't.
I
really can't.
Yeah, I don't want to say that I can't say anything, but yes, I did sign an NDA. I probably did, honestly. They gave me something.
It's probably signed a release.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Well, okay. So people can find you on The Real Housewives.
Yeah, my Instagram is the Andrew Robbins.
Yeah, let's plug the Instagram, the Andrew Robbins. Go see Andrew at Coffee for Sasquatch.
Come see me.
Melrose in La Brea.
If you have any questions about how I'm handling the shop, feel free to reach out to Claire.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd give them that much leeway. Then again, nobody hears this, so great.
Well, besides the millions that you had told me in the beginning, so.
Yeah.
And I know you would never lie to me.
That's just me clicking, but anyway.
Yeah, why have I been seeing like thumbs up just throughout?
Well, thank you. Thanks for being on. This was fun.
Thank you for having me. This was a pleasure.
This was great.
This is good for me not to be alone a virus.
This is one of the main reasons I've been doing this is to stay connected and have
this was definitely more for you than for me.
There is some selfishness to doing this podcast. I will be completely honest. But thank you. I'm going to end the recording.
Spent too much time in California. Now I'm in Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania.